Alright, this is Tales of Terror from Reddit 7. Charles takes Manhattan / Arizona because I'm moving to Arizona soon. And in case you ask why I'm doing Tales of Terror from Reddit, that is because I established a to-do list of stuff I should do. That includes finishing literature for DeviantArt, reading a Creepypasta, doing the audiobooks such as the Sideways Stories video, and finishing the Captain Do Not Crunch comic. Because I've been procrastinating for too long, so I decided to do a to-do list. But at first, I couldn't decide what I wanted to do, so I decided to choose my options through a wheel, to where I type in the stuff that I should do, spin the wheel, and whatever it lands on, I do that. I hope that makes sense for my upload schedule. So I'll be reading Tales of Terror from Reddit 7. Welp, let's do this. Don't go to Australia. I heard there are dangerous animals out there. Are you sure we're safe? The quiet girl in the back shakenly said. Of course we have nothing to worry about. The sudden stop in his words made everyone turn towards the tour guide. All we saw was a flutter of wings and feathers. Within moments, all that was left of him was a headless stump of a body. For a second, just a second, it was silent. Everyone stood in shock at the sight of our guide, our protection gone. Just like that, the silence was short-lived as our terror grew. Up in the branches was some kind of bird. It stood easily 10 feet tall, its body covered in matted, dirty feathers, its eyes the same color crimson that covered its sharp beak. In its knife-long talons, it held our guide's decapitated head, a look of terror forever painted on his face. Screams ran out in the group as people sprinted in different directions. The first to die were those sad folks still frozen in fear, turned to statues as if their brains just snapped at the sight of this monstrosity. The creature made quick work with them as it tore through their bodies with its talons. Next, it started going for the runners, rounding them up and encircling them like a skilled predator. I dove into a small opening cut out in the side of the cliff. I covered my eyes and put my head between my legs, desperate to drown out the screaming. I don't know how long it has been. It feels like days, but the screaming has finally stopped. It's been silent for hours, but that's what terrifies me. It's too quiet, like a predator silently stalking its prey. If I don't make it out alive, please heed my warning. Do not go to Australia. Seeing Red, written by Horror Fan 1191. I have always hated my big brother. I was always in his shadow. He was our parents' favorite child. They treated him like an angel, me like an object. He was nice when my family was around. When they weren't, he treated me like free labor or a punching bag. I could go on for hours at how mean he was to me. Complaining to my parents was useless. They would always take his side. One day, he was bossing me around. I snapped. First, it was an internal wave of hatred directed at him, flooding my veins. Worse than ever before. even on a murderous level. Second, the thoughts of hatred were replaced with thoughts of ways I could hurt him in the most brutal ways imaginable. Third, I was shocked and scared that I could ever think of such a thing. Fourth, that feeling of shock and fear quickly dissipated, turning back into those same thoughts of brutality. Fifth, I started literally seeing red, like blood red. Sixth, the world started spinning around me. Slow at first, but it quickly got faster and faster. Seventh, I felt a wave of almost superhuman levels of strength out of nowhere flooding through my veins. Eighth, noises became distant. Even my brother was asking if I was okay. And finally, I blacked out. That leads me to where we are now. I woke up next to my older brother's merciless, mutilated body, and now I am on the run. The police would arrest me on the spot had I stayed there. I will not ask for help or forgiveness. I just want to get my story out there. Goodbye, Reddit. A Valentine Present, written by Word Dogger. I knew we'd agree not to get each other Valentine presents, but I couldn't help it. I loved her with everything in me. She was the light that shone in every corner of my being. I was so anxious to get inside I almost tripped and dropped the box coming up the stairs to our landing. But I managed to avoid falling. I fumbled with the key and finally made it through the door. Alicia, where are you, darling? Only moments later, she came gliding into the foyer. Her red, silkish dress and her raven hair flowing behind her. Once she'd seen the box, though, she came up short, almost looked vexed. She asked, "What is that?" "Don't be cross with me, darling. I knew we agree not to get each other presents," I pouted playfully, but the only opportunity availed itself to me, and I simply couldn't resist. "Surely you wouldn't punish me for loving you. You wouldn't deny me this little pleasure, would you?" "I should be cross," she said, but then a smile began across her mouth. She reached her arms around my neck and placed a kiss on my cheek. But how could I? You always take such good care of me. And but enough of that. I stepped back and reached the box toward her. "Here, take this. It's a trifle, of course." She looked into the box, and then her eyes met mine. I could see the childlike anticipation in them. She took the box from me and sat on the bench, and I sat next to her. She hurriedly untied the ribbon and removed the lid. There it was, a solitary heart, glistening beneath the soft foyer light. "Oh, James," she cooed, "you shouldn't have. I know how much you like them." I started to fill it with candies, but I thought, why bother? "You chose right, love." She reached in and took out the heart. "You always chose right." It might be a little tough. He was an older gentleman. She didn't care. She'd already lifted the heart to her mouth and taken a big bite. Blood streamed down her chin. She moaned softly with pleasure. "This is so good," she whispered. And then took another bite before reaching the organ toward me. Want a bite? I don't mind if I do. My Dream, written by Big Chewy Buns. Sleeping is my only escape. As I close my eyes and lose my reality and conscience, I feel myself taken away. My bed, isolated from my body, turns cold, itching to take me back. The room bathed in the darkness, watched over my body, ready to lead me out of the door. My eyes struggled to open like a door sealed for centuries. My arms and legs were the only things getting a good night's rest. Finally, my sight had returned, but I wish it never had. 10 lifeless-looking people carrying me on their shoulders, leading themselves away to the door. My mouth had turned its tongue on me. My hope was to scream with my eyes, wishing that I could avert the dauntless creatures from the door and take me back. They stopped for a moment as if something was in their way. A disquietness. They felt my anguish as was a barrier to the door. Their heads turned to me like a controlled robot. I looked at each one and realized that these were not appalling villains. My deceased grandma, uncle, father, and many others I recognized were carrying me. I felt at peace, but the only place left for me to look was back. And I saw Mother, who seemed left out of the bunch. She seemed occupied with someone else. I witnessed Mother sob to a corpse lying flat, peacefully on my bed, my only parent. I wish I could go back. Love at First Sight, written by Stevie J. Stories. My boyfriend says he never believed in love at first sight until he met me. I know it sounds cliche, but I know he really means it. Until he met me, Dean says he never knew it was humanly possible to love someone so much that you will never look at another person again. So much that you had to spend every second that you could with me. So much that suddenly that person was inserted in all of your plans and dreams for the future. Dean says that before he met me, he didn't knew what it meant to need somebody. He didn't understand that once you met your soulmate, you can't breathe without them. That once you realize that half of your soul is in another person's body, you simply can't survive without them. That's how you know you are meant to be together. Dean had lovers before me, of course, but he never got to experience true love with any of them. They all seemed so perfect at first, but eventually, they all let him down. Hell, a couple of them just ghosted him completely, never bothering to even leave a note or even come back and get their stuff from their house. They led him on, even meet his family, and then leave him to shamefully explain why they weren't at the next event. So obviously, Dean had some issues with trust. Before he met me, Dean had never experienced the safety of a truly devoted relationship where there's nothing to worry about and no stress because it's so obvious that you will be together the rest of your lives. Before we were together, Dean still cared so much about what other people thought. He was constantly on the phone with his mom, his sister, his boss. Everyone had to be happy. But finally, he discovered that all we needed was each other, our dog, and our remote property in the woods. Life is so simple now. I tend to the garden, make his meals, sew his clothes, whatever he needs. In our many blissful years there, Dean has grown so much emotionally. He has really come to understand the meaning of true love and destiny. And the sooner he stops fighting me, the sooner he can feel how wonderful it is for himself. Dean never believed in love at first sight until he saw me. Fell in love with him that magical day all those years ago. He didn't know the lengths a soul would go to in order to make certain nothing and nobody throws our fate off course. Not his meddling mother, not his demanding boss, not those gold diggers who pretend to love him, not even him. Believing in love is half the battle. But until he feels it the way I do, I'm going to have to keep him down there. I don't know why he keeps praying someone finds him. There's no one to look for him anymore.